So Saturday.
Chris, can you say something again?
Sale dinner.
On Saturday?
Yeah.
Like this Saturday?
Sorry, Chris,
For meeting?
again, if you would mind.
Oh, for the meeting.
That's what I asked.
Okay, we had this issue at the planning committee, so stay with me while I went this up. Try again.
Can hear you.
Nope. Not yet.
Just one or multiples?
Just one. Okay, Chris, will you try again?
You look like you're just starting.
Hello, hello, hello.
All right, sorry, we are having some audio issues.
What's going on with it?
I don't know, so you,
Do you only get it if you're being sworn in? Is that?
Yeah.
you know
All
what?
right, Chris, will you try again?
Hello, hello, hello. Can you hear me?
Keep going. Will you just keep saying things?
I'll just keep talking
All
here.
right, there we go. I got it. We're good. Yeah, just keep talking. It happened at the planning commission. I don't know what's going on with it, but. Okay. Yeah, I think Chris, you can still hear us. Yeah.
Loud and clear.
Okay, and we can hear you, which is all that matters.
From my lovely dump of a hotel room down here in
Oh,
Texas.
fun. Hey. What part of Texas?
San Antonio, it's actually nice.
Oh. You might have two mics on at the same time.
Is it?
No? Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Can you try?
Can you hear me now?
Okay. Cool. Go. Scary there. Perfect. Okay, I think we're good. It's probably that.
We're just fixing the mics or the speakers in here, folks. And then we'll start. Oh. So you'll see it for executive sessions. Noisemaker. Well, welcome everyone to the special meeting on Thursday, April 11th.
So actually, hold on, sorry, you're not good because you don't have enough quorum from your current board. We need Jesse,
Don't we?
not Tom. You need Jesse or Tanya. We don't have Tanya yet.
Tanya's 7 o'clock. She told me. I'll call her and see
So
if
we need
she would try to
Jesse.
call in.
Um,
Wait, he's texting
Don't,
me.
don't you have 4 there that I see?
no, but not who our current board member. Oh, no, I guess so. Yeah,
Yeah.
I was thinking we have Luke.
Okay,
yeah.
cool. Yeah.
Luke is a current board member.
I've already signed Eric off. He's not, he's not here anymore. Never mind. We're good. Thanks. Thanks, Chris.
Sure.
Yeah. I'm right here. Are you already gone? Is that?
All right. Well, welcome everyone to the special meeting, Thursday, April 11th, 2024. And would you please take the roll call?
Yes. Mayor Billy,
Here.
Trustee Coombs Ismail,
Here.
Trustee Sterling,
Here.
Trustee Miller.
Here.
Please note for the record that currently Trustee Corvalon and Trustee Severs are absent.
Thank you. With that, we have 4 action items tonight, and then we will have 1 discussion item, and then we'll go in executive session. So our first action tonight is the oath of the new and re-elected Board of Trustee members. Miranda or Macy? I guess Miranda.
It is me. And so tonight, we are going to swear in the new board members and also say farewell to the outgoing board members. So what I will do is do the oath of office with Mayor Billy, and then Mayor Billy will turn around and do the oath of office for all others.
Great.
Which I don't know if you want to
I'll be right there.
come over here. Okay. You're going to turn on your mic if you could. And please raise your right hand. Repeat after me. I, Billy Giblin,
I, Billy Giblin,
do solemnly affirm
do solemnly affirm
that I will support and uphold
that I will support and uphold
the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution and laws of
and the Constitution and laws
the state of Colorado,
of the state of Colorado
and the ordinances of the town of Nederland,
and the ordinances of the town of Nederland,
and that I will faithfully,
and that I will faithfully,
to the best of my skill and ability,
and to the best of my skill and ability,
perform the duties of the office of mayor
perform the duties of the office of mayor
of the town of Nederland,
of the town of Nederland,
upon which I am about to enter.
upon which I'm about to enter.
Congratulations. All right.
Thank you, everyone.
Bring up other, I don't know who you want to start with. I had them listed in alphabetical order.
Perfect.
Um,
Luke.
So yeah, starting actually with Christopher Larson. And he's online. So
Okay.
do you need the
Let me go grab my
Wordy.
computer. Sorry. Hi, Chris. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. So if you would, please raise your right hand.
Hopefully you can
And
see that.
we do, all the way from here to Texas. And repeat after me. I, Christopher Larson,
I,
do
Christopher
solemnly
Larson,
affirm
do solemnly affirm
that I will support and uphold the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support and uphold the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution and laws of the state of Colorado,
the Constitution and laws of the state of Colorado,
and the ordinances of the town of Nederland,
and the ordinances of the town of Nederland,
and that I will faithfully and to the best of my skill and ability
and that I will faithfully and to the best of my skill and ability
perform the duties of the office of the Board of Trustees
perform the duties of the office of the Board of Trustees
of the town of Nederland,
of the town of Nederland,
upon which I am about to enter.
upon which I am about to enter.
Congratulations, Chris.
Thank you.
Okay, Luke. Hello, we're going to test these two mics. Yeah. Luke,
Hi.
welcome.
I want to get this first.
Yeah.
So, repeat after me, Luke. Raise your right hand, please. I, Luke Miller,
I, Luke Miller,
do solemnly affirm
do solemnly affirm
that I will support and uphold the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support and uphold the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution and laws of the state of Colorado,
the Constitution and laws of the state of Colorado,
and the ordinances of the town of Nederland,
and the ordinances of the town of Nederland,
and that I will faithfully and to the best of my skill and ability
and that I will faithfully and to the best of my skill and ability
perform the duties of the office
perform the duties of the office
of the Board of Trustees of the town of Nederland,
of the Board of Trustees of the town of Nederland,
upon which I am about to enter.
upon which I am about to enter.
Congratulations. Thank you. Welcome back. S comes before T. So, Nicole? I had to break out my alphabet cheat sheet.
Put this down.
Okay, so if you would, raise your right hand. And repeat after me. I, Nicole Sterling,
I, Nicole Sterling,
do solemnly affirm
do solemnly affirm
that I will support and uphold the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support and uphold the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution and the laws of the state of Colorado,
the Constitution and the laws of the state of Colorado,
and the ordinances of the town of Nederland,
and the ordinances of the town of Nederland,
and that I will faithfully and to the best of my skill and ability
and that I will faithfully and to the best of my skill and ability
perform the duties of the office of
perform the duties of the office of
the Board of Trustees of the town of Nederland,
the Board of Trustees of the town of Nederland,
upon which I'm about to enter,
upon which I'm about to
re-enter. Thank you.
Re-enter.
Congratulations. Ty? Awesome. Repeat after me. I, Aaron, turns out, Aaron Ty, do solemnly affirm
I, Aaron Ty, do solemnly affirm
that I will support and uphold the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support and uphold the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution and the laws of the state of Colorado,
the Constitution and the laws of the state of Colorado,
and the ordinances of the town of Nederland,
and the ordinances of the town of Nederland,
and that I will faithfully and to the best of my skill and ability
that I will faithfully, to the best of my skill and ability,
perform the duties of the office of the Board of Trustees
perform the duties of the office of the Board of Trustees
of the town of Nederland,
of the town of Nederland,
upon which I am about to enter.
upon which I'm about to enter.
Congratulations, Ty. So congratulations, folks, on the election and joining the board. And the biggest congratulations go to Eric. So Eric, thank you. Oh, okay. I thank you for, yeah, thanks for reminding me. Thank you for the amazing work you've done. You're a great legislator and more importantly, a great guy. And so thanks for being part of this.
Wish I could say the same about you, Bill. I can.
So thanks. And Jesse, if you log in, we will thank you as well. And would you like to make a comment, Eric? Okay.
Want to make it at you.
Okay. Thanks again.
Be sure to have cupcakes for those of you in the audience with cupcakes. Hold on, they're saying, Chris, can you hear us?
Loud and clear.
Okay. Kathleen just emailed that she lost sound. I'm not sure. That might be specific to her. Okay. Please.
I don't know if I can keep it to 3 minutes, but I'm Eric Coombs Ismail and I live in town. I don't envy all of your positions. I think that more and more it has to be articulated that the role that y'all are performing and that I've been performing over the last 4 years is not one of power, but one of service. I was raised in Islam, and in my sect, the Ismailis, which is where my last name comes from, we have 7 pillars instead of 5. And I won't go through all of them, but the last pillar might be a bit controversial, is jihad. And I grew up with that as a part of my life. It was what I was supposed to do. And what it means is it means struggle. Doesn't mean war. And that struggle starts internally, but also extends to your communities. And it's a recognition that all of this is an ongoing struggle. As I always say, outcomes are slippery things. The idea that we're somehow going to get to the promised land is probably a fool's errand when it comes to local government. But we can struggle to get there together every day, over and over again. Democracy is not a goal. It's not an end point. It's a trajectory. It's a direction. It's something that we have to build. And it means rule by the people. It doesn't mean rule for the people. So the people do have to step up. And you are the ones who have stepped up to do this work, to try to forge a democratic community in local government together. And I hate to end this on a kind of a negative note, I'm slightly disappointed in the time that I've spent on the Board of Trustees. I'm slightly disappointed in our community. I'm a bit disappointed at the level of discourse, and that the people who are willing to work and work very hard are often working to tear things down rather than try to build something up. And I really hope that this board can approach the task for what it is. It is a maintenance job. We're trying to keep the town running, keep the community going, and put the things in place that we need to have a future, right? It's not about this or that project, building this or that dog park or pump track. And it is certainly not about the level of discourse that is on Facebook, because it is low, it is poor, and it's done in bad spirit and ridden with meanness. And I think it's insufficient. And the last thing that I want to say is that the vote is not everything. The vote and democracy go together, but only partially. Opinion, everybody's got one. It's about what people do. So I really urge you to take people's opinions maybe with a pinch of salt, especially when they're uninformed or made with a bad spirit. Focus on what people actually do. I think that the best leaders are probably the best followers. Follow the people who take action in the community. And I'm sure that it'll pay dividends. So that's the last thing I have to say. I really hope this doesn't become a project-based board. Hope it becomes a maintenance board that will do what's right by the town. I don't envy your next task. I have to say, it's gonna be tough. It's going to be very hard. And all the agenda that we put together last year may not come to fruition because of the changes that are happening in town. But that's okay, as long as we continue to struggle. All right. Bye, everyone.
Thanks for everything, Eric. Appreciate
I
it.
gotta go get a kid.
Appreciate it.
Turning it off.
Thank you. With that, we will go into our,
I didn't know if you had a
actually,
call for.
thank
public comment.
you for, this is an action item, as Eric reminded me. Are there any other public comments? First, we'll go in the room. Does anyone in the room want to make a public comment about the recent oaths taken, the people taking them? The room is content. Anyone online wish to make a public comment? Hearing none and seeing no hands raised, we will move on to action item 3.2, the mayor pro tem appointment. I can't remember if I'm supposed, is this me or you?
I'm happy to introduce them all and then I'll
Okay.
kick it over to you to handle it from here. According to Colorado Revised Statute 314303, at the first meeting of the newly elected Board of Trustees, the BOT shall choose one of the trustees to serve as mayor pro tem. Mayor pro tem for the town of Nederland serves as the mayor when the mayor is absent. from the town or for any reason is temporarily unable to perform the duties of the office. So question before you is, who would you like to be mayor pro tem? We do have a resolution that has kind of a blank line, which we would fill in, and then some suggested motions when you're ready.
Okay, great, thank you. Well, I definitely would like to recommend that we appoint Nicole Sterling as our mayor pro tem.
Second.
And it's not quite, I guess it's, we'll get to the motion. Thank you. That, I would say that's a good sign. And I'll lay out just some of my logic. You've been doing a great job, for sure, for the last year and a half. And the popular vote was quite a statement in the mandate. You got the most votes of all of us. And so the community is very happy with what you're doing for us, and we appreciate it. And you are on the board, and so for sake of continuity too, having you continue as our, into this role seems great. And I do feel like, we'll work together well to, to keep the right goals in front of us, and all the strategic goals, and work on our agenda, and work to build a good culture, and feel like I have room for improvement from the last year and a half. So appreciate that you'll be that I one of my pieces of logic that you would be a good person to help me with that improvement. So thanks.
It goes both ways. Thank you.
Are there any first we'll go with any clarifying questions or comments from the other board members, and then we'll go to public comment, and then we'll come back for discussion and a motion. Okay, with that, we'll go to public comment. Is there anyone in the room who would like to make a public comment? Anyone online who would like to make a public comment about the mayor pro tem? If not, we'll bring it back for discussion and the motion. I will move to approve Resolution 2024-16 appointing Nicole Sterling as the mayor pro tem.
Second.
A second.
Third.
So when you're ready, Miranda.
Yep. Trustee Larson,
Yes.
Trustee Miller,
Yes.
Trustee Sterling,
Yes.
Mayor Billy.
Yes.
Trustee Ty.
Yes.
Motion passes. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Welcome. And so with that, we'll go on to advisory boards and commissions, liaison appointments.
Yes, this is the big ones.
Yes, this will not go as quickly.
Split this into two sections. So the Board of Trustees needs to appoint liaisons to the advisory boards and commissions. That Board of Trustee member serves as the seventh person on each of the boards, and some boards have an alternate, but this is the seventh person. They're a voting member in all of the boards except for the Planning Commission. They're a tie. They would vote if there was a tie for the Planning Commission on legislative items, but an essential member for each board. So just going to review them really quick. You have the Board of Zoning Adjustment, which reviews zoning change requests. These meetings are held on the second Thursday of the quarter, although oftentimes those are canceled and they're really more held as needed. Planning Commission reviews development land use code. They're obviously the first step in any quasi-judicial land use application. They meet on the fourth Wednesday at 7 o'clock. The DDA is a board for business and property owners in the downtown district who work on improving infrastructure in the downtown area and just general development. They meet on the second Wednesday at 7 o'clock. Sustainability Advisory Board advises the Board of Trustees on matters related to sustainable practices, resource conservation, renewable energy, waste reduction, and general public outreach and education. They meet on the fourth Thursday at 6:45. And then ProSab is the Parks Recreation and Open Space Advisory Board, and they work on advising the Board of Trustees on all things related to open space, trails, parks, outdoor recreation. And they meet on the third Thursday at 5:30. So there are 5 internal boards that need a liaison. And then we have a series of external boards that need a representative from the Board of Trustees. Some require it, some it's just a preference by that board. You have the Boulder County Consortium of Cities, which is all of the elected. So there's typically one elected official from each jurisdiction in Boulder County who attends, as well as staff. And the point is really to promote, discussions, interactions, communication around various topics that are impacting the county. Those are held every other month on the first Wednesday at 6 o'clock. There's a Boulder County Transportation Subregional Forum, which comes out of DRCOG, and this group focuses on the distribution of transportation improvement funds, and so it's definitely essential. And the trustee serves as a voting member, and so while that can be designated to a staff, the preference is that the voting member is a Board of Trustee member. They meet as needed, but when they typically meet, it's often on a Monday at 1 o'clock. Colorado Communities for Climate Action. You do have some members of SAB who serve on this, but again, typically I've always had a board member who works on advocating for climate policy. And those meetings, again, are held as needed, and your attendance can be based on whatever makes the most sense for you, because there are a lot of meetings for CC4CA. DRCOG is where local governments within our Denver Regional Council of Governments who are members of DRCOG get together to work on things like transportation, development, aging, housing, economic development, all sorts of different topics with counterparts from other DRCOG. And DRCOG's region, of course, includes all of the large jurisdictions, as well as a series of small communities, and they meet as needed. You have the EcoPass Public Improvement District Advisory Board. They work on recommendations for the EcoPass. They were the committee who opted to put the EcoPass on the ballot recently. That board is also working on how to bring forward the business program, because if you recall, the ballot initiative that passed included a business program. So this group is working on the rollout of that. And they meet on the third Wednesday at 5 o'clock. Peak to Peak Housing and Human Services has always requested a Board of Trustee to be present as they work through everything housing and human services. That is a collaborative of all of the nonprofits along the Peak to Peak who support our residents from a social and human services perspective. And they meet on the second Thursday at 9 a.m. And then the last one is the Youth Advisory Board, Mountain Coalition for Youth. We used to call this an internal board, moving it to external. They of course would love to have a board member present, maybe more so at their Mountain Coalition for Youth meetings, which are the second Wednesday at 5:15, because their youth advisory boards meet as needed, and when they meet for 5 hours. So we know that's a big lift. Staff are always at their advisory board meetings, so more for the Coalition for Youth. But of course, these are our newest youth boards. They've been essential in the process of having youth voice heard. So I think tonight, question is, who's going to serve where? Who's going to be the liaison for which board? And then again, we have Exhibit A in the attached resolution that I will fill in as we go, and then that's what you'll ultimately vote on. So happy to answer any questions.
Any clarifying questions from the trustees for Miranda?
If we're interested in one of the boards, how do we go about that?
So yeah, I mean, I gotta, I didn't really have a chance to talk to you all about this. I've had a lot of stuff with work and personal stuff that happened this week. So we haven't done much preliminary talk about this, but yeah, it would be, we have, Tanya will be here soon. Like we have some folks who've made one person who's a couple requests or a couple tentative requests for internal boards, and then 2 for external boards. But yeah, if there's some in particular that, is there any in particular you like? I'd say right now, if you have a clarifying question or even a specific question about that board or any board, that's what we'll do now. And then we'll after public comment, we'll come back to kind of talking about who wants to do what.
I have a question. So obviously we have more boards than we have board members. how do we kind of prioritize the things that need a BOT member at them versus things that, or who's going to end up doing more than one and stuff like that?
Well, I think, I mean, what was happening before is we either, as Tom was doing quite a bit of this external stuff, I'd say more than we realized. And we need liaison definitely to the 5 internal boards. And I guess from a priority point of view, then the external boards, Miranda kind of touched on that, and the aim kind of touches on that, but some have a higher time commitment than others. Ideally, it'd be you'd be a liaison to 1 external, 1 internal. I mean, that's really for 12 total.
Yeah, maybe I could just add, I listed all the externals. So as Mayor Billy noted, Mayor Pro Tem Hold actually did all of these externals. And so I listed them all. You could have where maybe just capacity wise, the peak to peak housing and human services just goes without. I just think for them having the connection, especially with my departure, having a connection, I think is gonna be really important to them, to the town of Nederland. I'm not sure staff can step in quite that way, like they have the youth. So I would maybe strongly encourage you to consider it, but that could be one that comes off, as well as CC4CA, because Alan Apt does support CC4CA. But the other ones, the ones that have to have a liaison is Consortium of Cities, Transportation Subregional Forum, Dr. Cog, and EcoPass. Those 4 have to, because they're voting members in those 4.
And just to clarify, wasn't Leah going to consort or the climate?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, Sustainability Coordinator Leah Haney also attends CC4CA.
So it's like,
Although I don't think Alan Apt is a voting member because he's not a board member. I think that's you right now.
I was,
Oh, you were a board member, a voting board member. Okay.
Board member from SAB? I don't,
Oh, yeah.
they haven't voted on it.
it was Tom who was
Oh, that's
going.
right. It was Tom.
Yeah. And so,
Tom
yeah.
was all.
One more clarifying question is, obviously we're missing a trustee. Do we
Right.
want to discuss how we might fill that seat before we divvy up spots, or just because there's a lot of boards to adjust, especially without Dom doing all the others?
I hadn't thought about it that way. Yeah. What are your thoughts on that?
I think often what happens to, like, if we were to, divvy them up now, because I know when I came in, I got appointed, right? It was like, well, what's the open spot? It was SAB at that point. So I think you can go about it either way. But I think it would be nice if we could have a decision tonight in terms of where we're going to go, because a lot of these meetings are already happening. Would be my only thought.
Yeah, we could probably reassign once we have a 7th.
I think we should go through with we've got 6 people on the board now, and we're all in attendance. I believe Tanya, I saw in here.
Tanya will be here shortly. She just dropped off.
I see her online. She's in the participant list.
Oh, good. Okay.
So, I'd say we'd try to get.
I am here.
There we
Okay.
go.
Thanks, Tanya.
I would say we go through, and we may be at the point where if we all sort of speak to what boards we're interested in, at least on the internals, we could probably fill most of those. Speaking to what Nicole said is, saying those meetings are coming up for those boards. So we should get a liaison on those as quickly as we can while deciding what to do with the open trustee position. And then we could fill as many of the external boards as people might have interest for. But those are, in some cases of a lesser importance that could wait until a new appointee.
Thanks, Chris. Tanya, any more? Do you have any comment on process? After public comment, we'll come back to talking about who would like which liaison assignments. But do you have any questions or comments on process?
You're on mute if you're speaking, Tanya.
If not, we'll go ahead and go to public comment. Is there any public comment from folks? Oh, go ahead. Is that Tanya?
Yeah, did you guys say something about me?
No, I was just saying, do you have any clarifying questions or things on the process?
Oh,
After
no.
public comment, we'll talk about, our
Yeah, I just thought I
preferences
heard my
for.
name. I was just getting in the car, so I didn't hear the full thing.
No, I don't. Thank you.
Thank you. I don't think we have any public comment from folks in the room. Any public comment from folks online regarding the liaison appointments?
Jim Reese.
Hey, Jim.
Jim, I had to
Can't hear
mute you because there was some background noise, so you're gonna have to come off mute.
*6.
No, I can only request.
Can
you hear me now?
Yes.
Hi, this is Jim Reese, 66 Barker Road, Nederland, Colorado. I'm just calling in to welcome all the new members and those that are still remaining with us, and to put in a pitch. For those who don't know, I'm the Vice Chair of the Planning Commission, and we would like very much to have Chris Larson, if he is willing, be our liaison. His previous experience on the Planning Commission plus his knowledge as mayor would be extremely helpful for many of the big projects that are going to face us over the next couple of years in Nederland. It would be very tough, I think, to get a member of the BOT who has to come in and learn town code and try and get up to speed with some of the things we've been handling. And with Chris's previous experience in the projects that are going forward and his knowledge, it would just really help us to hit the ground running and move forward with these if he was appointed as our liaison. Hopefully Chris wants to be our liaison. If he says he doesn't, then I don't have anything further to add other than welcome to the board members that are newly appointed and those who continue to remain and try and help our town through a tough time of transition. And I'll throw this unrelated thing in there about how much we will miss you, Dr. Fisher. Good luck in your next adventure. It looks like you're going to a really nice town. Thank you.
Thanks, Jim. Appreciate it. Any other public comments from folks online? All right, hearing none, I will bring it back to the board for discussions.
I'll chime in here. Just thank you, Jim, for that request. Certainly, request is to be on planning commission. If no one else is interested in that role, or wants to step in, I am happy to do so. I will note, though, that for the big projects that Jim mentioned, the Board of Trustee liaison will probably not be able to assist the planning commission in much of a tangible way due to preserving their role to vote at this board. But certainly on any of the other projects that the planning commission is working on, the leading up the comp plan, I am happy to serve in that role and take that on if no one else has a driving interest to take the planning commission.
Thanks, Chris.
So if Chris, and I'm so glad you pointed that out, because that is something that we all have to be conscious of is, when it comes to those quasi judicial matters, we can't participate in the way that I think folks would like us to. And if that's not something that, your bleeding heart, wanting to pursue, I'd be happy to be on the PC. I find it fascinating, and that's probably a very nerdy thing to say. It's tier 2 fun, like you've probably stated in the past. But I think that there's a lot of interesting things and discussion that comes out of that planning commission, and and I think it's just having watched all the changes to our Chapter 16 code and everything this last year with affordable housing. Housing is going to be a big deal again this next year. And where we can continue to tweak, and especially with our commitment to Proposition 123, those are some really exciting things coming down the pike. So I'll throw my hat in there if no one else is bleeding heart wanting to participate in that way.
Thanks, Nicole. Thanks, Chris. Thanks, Nicole. Other trustees, any comments or thoughts about, let's just stick with the PC appointment? If not, Chris, what's your thoughts? Reply.
I think like Nicole said, is definitely a type 2 fun. The planning commission is definitely, I feel, the sort of the largest of the boards where we liaise to. It is the one that has the greatest time commitment and terms of preparation and meeting time. Looking at the list of them, I've actually served on or as a liaison to every board in this list, in the internal list, not the external, the internal list. So I have seen what it takes to do all those. I would, as I talked to Billy this morning, when I first started thinking about this, my first board I wanted to get involved in was the DDA, because I do think that is the one that has the greatest chance of impact for this town right now. It's got a budget can work on things that could get done in the short term that could really affect the town. But I recognize, I believe it was Tanya as our current liaison to there and has expressed an interest in staying on there. So I'm absolutely happy to let her stay there if the DDA is interested in keeping her. So I defer. I don't have seniority on this board anymore, but I would very much like to continue to participate in the sort of the tangible Chapter 16 edits, the big issues coming before the board that the Planning Commission has, and having heard their request, the Planning Commission having requested me, I'd very much still like to do that if Nicole, if there's another board you're interested in as well. You just keep pitching this back and forth.
Yeah, go ahead. Do you have it?
No, I wasn't really thinking about, I mean, it's like I wrote before in the newspaper, like I can kind of fill in wherever. I've always been a utility player. And so, where that's the housing and everything that I had worked on, this last year it was a big deal. It was really close to my heart. So yeah, seeing that continue through. So we can Rochambeau for it if you want.
Yeah, I guess one thing I was going to say is, yeah, just for sake of, ultimately, I think if you do come to an agreement, that's great, but that's, ideal. And
maybe it's
maybe
curious.
just each of you makes a statement or something, and the rest of us can think about it too.
Well, and it'd be curious to hear what, other trustees are interested in, because that might feather things out or whatever.
Okay, yeah, that's a great idea. We got a couple of placeholders for the PC, and Chris, you stated, what Tanya had asked me a while ago about staying on DDA. What are you all thinking? You both thinking?
For other boards or the DDA?
Which board?
All across.
Yeah, which internal board do you like?
I
would like to be on.
I have a personal preference for ProSab as my top choice, but the sustainability board as well is also interesting. So I'm open to either of those.
Yeah, I was going to say ProSap for me too. Is also my top choice. Rochambeau.
Cool.
Does Miranda still have the spinner wheel from the ballot choice?
I can easily pull that back up.
Well, we might think about it. Okay, cool. So we got two who prefer PC as first choice, two that prefer ProSab as first choice. I do want to remind folks, BZA is another. It's you guys may not even know much about the BZA. It's the Board of Zoning Adjustment. I was on that before I was on the PC, and while I was on the PC, and it is quasi judicial that they get certain types of variances that kind of code doesn't cover, or that code hasn't really kind of specified parameters around. So they get certain types of variances go to the BZA, and they are the final vote. They are quasi judicial themselves, and the Board of Trustees doesn't weigh in or override their votes. And they meet once a quarter. So they meet, I can't remember what day of the week, but once a quarter. I think first month of the quarter. So that is just another board that's available, and also needs, and actually you are a voting member in
Correct.
Because we don't, there is no, unlike the PC where you have to often step out of the room or leave or just not go because they're deliberating on something that we can't, that we're going to vote on later. Generally we would never not be voting on something the PCA deals with because they're the final word. So
I would also say youth advisory board, who I would be
okay.
interested in too.
Okay, cool. That's an external. We moved that to external, but thank you. That's good because that's a good one. Tanya, would you like to talk to us about what you'd like to do? No, you're on your way here, so I don't know if you're still. Well, I can say that Tanya has made clear she'd like to stay with the DDA, and so there she is. Tanya, you there? So I don't think that has changed. Okay, so I guess
Do you guys hear me?
no, we do. Good.
Oh, shoot. I'm in the car. I'm driving to the community center. And the Bluetooth is so weird in the car. Yeah, I would like to stay in the DDA because I'm familiar with everything that's going on right now with all the projects and all the people and we got the performance, our summer concert series that me and Andrew are working on with Kate, and I'd like to see that follow through on that. Be nice. So that would be great if I could just stay there. Be great. Thank you.
Thanks. And I'll put in my pitch that, Tanya is really the senior member of the board now. Been on the board for 4 years, and a week at this point. And I would like to see her stay on the NDDA too. I think she's doing a good job.
Thank you.
Welcome. So, I guess what we need to do now is just talk more through the PC and the ProSab and the SAB and the lonely BZA appointments. The lonely, very low commitment BZA appointment.
Do you want to talk, do you want to make a decision on that first or talk about the external? Maybe we
Yeah, we could talk about external and then maybe then people can get a sense whether if they're getting what they want on one side, they can maybe give in on the other. I love that because I've gotten a couple requests, which fortunately do not conflict so far, of people that have a preference for external boards. So, both Chris and Nikki have told me boards they would like to be on externally. So you want to, Nicole?
Yeah, so not necessarily through our board seat with Dr. Cog, but kind of tangentially, I've been building a relationship with Dr. Cog and Flo Reitano, who's over there, and some of the member cities. And so I think that's just a natural, kind of fit for me and some of the work that we're doing here, especially around the housing and transportation. In fact, a lot of funds are going to be opening up for housing because they're being connected to transportation, which is a big focus for Dr. Cog. And so I think there's a lot of opportunity for us to kind of tap into some of those things. And so that's exciting to continue to work with Flo and the other member councils. So I would put up a vote for Dr. Cog.
Just a
Great.
clarifying point, the Dr. Cog is a separate board than the Boulder County Transportation Subregional. Like those are separate, or that's the same board?
They're separate. The
separate.
transportation is a subcommittee of the Dr. Cog.
Yeah. So I get where you're going. It's like, if you're on one, do you sort of just subcommittee into the other? Is that kind of?
Well, yeah, and just, trying to kind of break out what we're trying to fill.
Yeah, gotcha.
Well, I was going to say, I really want to be on Dr. Cog too, just to keep this going. But no, actually, I think, Nicole, you would be a perfect fit for Dr. Cog. Having been on that before, having the other members of DRCOG tend to be mayors and mayor pro tems. So I think in your new role as mayor pro tem, I totally support you in that role on DRCOG and agree that that is one of the most critical external boards for the town of Nederland. So
Yep.
happy to hear that you're interested in working with that and have already started working with Flo and the people down there. And on a similar note, I've been working, with other members of the county so long and have built those relationships that the Boulder County Consortium of Cities is the one that I had spoken to Billy about being a member of earlier.
Thank you, Chris. Appreciate it. So we got two important external boards spoken for.
I'll throw in a vote for the Climate Action Board.
Cool. A pitch. Great. So actually, and then Ty, you talked about the Youth Advisory Board. Ty had earlier, and CC4C is how that Climate Action Board. Luke had put in a pitch for that. Have you looked at any of these external? I mean, to be honest, since folks are kind of asking for things, the ones that are left, that if you want to look at, are Boulder County Transportational Subregional Forum, which is they meet as needed on Mondays at 1 p.m. at like any idea like how often do they?
It was monthly when there was active funding, but funding's actually been distributed till 2027.
Awesome.
So like they have a doodle pull out right now for like a touch base. And so when I say as needed, I'm talking like really as needed.
Like BZA as needed.
Yeah.
Okay. That sounds good. And then the EcoPass, I guess the EcoPass is another one that's
They really do meet monthly, that group.
okay. And that's a bigger one than the Peak to Peak.
EcoPass would have more direct involvement. Peak to Peak is just ensuring a connection to the town. I don't think Peak to Peak, I think it's just being there to answer questions, maybe share what you're doing from the housing front. Just keep the community connected to what you're doing more than anything, where the EcoPass is actually a voting member decision maker. EcoPass. Yeah, I moved to monthly because they're working on the business project, the business program. But since the vote passed that you can now have businesses, that group's working on pulling that together. So yes, likely to go back to quarterly, but currently set for monthly.
Businesses, what do you mean?
So the EcoPass, a ballot measure allows businesses to issue EcoPasses to their employees. But that board has to put together that program. So it's not currently active.
So they're meeting monthly right now to get through that project, and then they likely would go back to quarterly.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
And Miranda, can you just give us a quick scope of what that, the EcoPass district is different than Boulder County? Can you just give us a quick scope of what areas that encompasses?
Yeah, it's the exact same district as the library district. So it's going to grab Ridge Road, Town of Eldora, a lot of just the surrounding unincorporated Boulder County area.
Does it go into Gilpin as well a little
No.
bit, or no? It doesn't. Okay.
I think Gilpin wished it went to Gilpin, but it does not.
Which is a bigger priority, EcoPass or transportation?
You mean EcoPass or Peak to Peak?
No, Boulder County Transportation Subregional Forum.
Oh, EcoPass, because the funding has been so distributed for the TIP program.
Okay, so the TIP program's really. Which one? The That would be good because it sounds like that's the one that's more.
But I guess I would say we do need someone on that sub-regional because you need to have a board voting member.
Okay.
For all I don't know if we'll be able to get them all filled,
Yeah.
Tom was able somehow to do it.
Yeah. I mean, obviously the transportation stuff is interesting to me, but I don't know, if we just need somebody to do it, I might be able to find the time, but that's a stretch.
I mean, you could have staff. My only concern is like, I'm your other voting member. So I think that there's value in maybe trying to grab someone at least for tonight, and you could change your mind later because they do want to have a meeting. And if that, for some reason that can't happen before I go, then we don't
Well,
have any.
I could do that.
That would be great.
And,
Yeah.
and we have one more
That's true.
trustee to
Trustee
bring in.
coming in, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, just to go through them, Boulder County Consortium of Cities, Chris Larson, Dr. Cog, Nicole Sterling, Boulder County Transportation Subregional Forum, Billy Gidlin, CC4CA, Luke Miller, YAB is what they're called. Or actually EcoPass, Nederland EcoPass Public Improvement, Tanya Corvlin, and YAB would be Aaron Ty. And we will have another person. I mean, the peak to peak. I mean, I was doing the peak to peak with the housing subcommittee. Is this different than the group I was kind of part of?
No, so the way the Peak to Peak orients now is on even months, it's a virtual meeting where it's educational only. Odd months are work groups, and that's when the housing group is still formed. It's still active. They're going to play a large role in the multi-jurisdictional regional housing authority. So of course they'll have staff on it, absolutely, but leadership is great. Even if a board member could attend on the odd months and not necessarily come on the even months.
And they do second Thursdays at 9 a.m.
How long is the meeting?
And then
So they're an hour and a half on the even months and 2.5 hours on the odd months because we do the subcommittee work. So I realize this is a big ask.
Do you want to split it between the two of us?
yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind because I was on that for a while, even once I was mayor, till I just, till I really didn't have time. But yes, yeah, because the Boulder County Transportation Subregional looks like it's minimal, so really it means I could just kind of pick it up, or we could split it, whatever.
Yeah, and I think
And also, we're taking 5 internal boards. But when this next 7th trustee comes on, there'll be another person to pick something up.
And just for clarification, I'm sorry, it's 2 hours on the odd months. And I think, Katrina will just add you to the listserv. You'll see the agenda. I think you could connect with her, let her know. And then of course you'll have your staff who go. So yeah, I mean, I think our ask has always been, we'd love the support of elected officials at these meetings because you are the decision makers often on the larger things that come your way, like housing. So it'd be great to have your participation.
Yeah, I mean, this multi-jurisdictional housing authority thing really interests me.
Yeah.
And Billy, I could, fill in for you on transportation thing in between, if you're overloaded.
Okay. Let me see how that goes, but thank you. That sounds great. I will try to remember that. So let's see. Consortium, Dr. Cog, transportation. And then CC4CA, EcoPass, Peak to Peak. Okay, YAB is done. So we just need to work through the internal ones, and got 2 folks that would like to do ProSab, 2 folks that would like to do Planning Commission, and we have Sustainability Advisory Board and BZA that need liaisons.
And maybe I could just add, we would love if the BZA didn't go without, because we're trying to hold a meeting on May 9th.
Yeah,
And we need that liaison to be able to come.
Yes,
to that.
yeah, we need one for the BZA. That's for sure. Because you're a voting member, and they don't have, they have vacant seats. Some of that.
And they can't run a meeting with like just the majority. They have to have 5, and they only have 6 on their board.
Mhm.
Like 6 with a liaison. Right now, they only have 5. So if someone can't go, we can't hold hearings. So the liaison is essential.
Okay, cool. Thank you. So, I heard Luke, you say, your first choice is ProSab, your second choice is SAB. You said your first choice is ProSab. What are you guys thinking? Go ahead.
Luke, since you're on the CC4CA, right? You're on your external. That coincides nicely with the work that SAB does.
Yeah, I see that. I definitely have. It's the climate action, thing. I see that. I still have a strong preference for ProSab, but
Let's do the wheel.
oh yeah,
We could do the wheel. I mean, because I mean, I'm flip coins, yeah, what the heck? It's kind of fun.
Let
Yeah, because I was like trying to think of some fancy way for people to present their case, but the wheel seems way easier.
It's fun. Okay, do you guys tie? You know what the wheel is?
Is that what we want to do?
Yes.
Okay.
No, this is new for me, but I'm interested.
This is how your position in the on the ballot was chosen, just so you know.
Right. So, okay. Are
Yeah.
we okay? Are you okay with that?
I have a quarter in my pocket. That's the other route. Yeah. So
Okay. So it was either.
Did we already do public comment for appointments?
We did.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think this is a great way to go. I guess what we could do is just say it'll be yes or no for the person who wants the seat you want, and then because no one has really spoken too intensely about BZA or SAB. Oh yeah. No, because it's just two that are. Yeah, yeah. Just let's go with
So
pro SAB first.
yeah. So who's red? I can't see. Like.
Great. I'm glad
Okay.
you made the decision because they both.
Sorry,
number
Aaron
ones.
Ty is red, Luke Miller is blue. So yeah, so I'm gonna click spin if it's what we're about to do. Yes?
Yes.
Okay, here we go.
I love democracy at work. Okay, so Luke Miller will be on ProSab. Am I reading? That's the arrow on the right?
Yep.
Okay. And then Ty. So
What do you want?
BZA or SAB? No, I mean, do you know much about what Sustainability Advisory Board does? Because Nicole is presently liaison, she could tell you, and Chris was on.
I'm probably more familiar with sustainability than in my world
Yeah.
anyways.
Okay.
And,
Then BZA.
zoning, yeah.
Okay. So it's like the Sustainability Advisory Board?
Sure.
Cool. Okay, cool. Thank you. That's cool. It makes sense because the BZA and the PC are frankly more related anyways than the PC and anything else. So yeah. Okay. When you're ready, Miranda, we will spin the wheel of fortune for the
No
planning commission.
whammies. Wasn't that a game? No whammies. Something.
I think I'm even too old to. And
Yeah, we definitely need a sound
I
effect.
stopped
on
watching
that
TV
wheel.
before that.
We need a sound effect on the wheel.
There actually is a sound effect. I just turned it off because otherwise I'd have the feedback. All right, are you ready?
All right.
So Chris Larson's in the blue, Nicole Sterling is in red.
Nicole it is.
Cole, you'll be with the PC, and Chris, you'll be with BZA. Thank you, everyone. Appreciate it. So from your notes, does this look complete, Miranda? I guess we have to move to
Do you want
make the
me to-
motion, but are the blanks full?
Yeah, is it helpful if I repeat it all back to you before you make the motion so I can confirm mine matches yours?
Yes.
Okay, so for the 2024 appointments to Town of Nederland Advisory Boards and Commissions internal, Board of Zoning Adjustment is Trustee Larson, Planning Commission, Mayor Pro Tem Sterling, Downtown Development Authority, Trustee Corvalon, Sustainability Advisory Board, Trustee Ty, Parks Recreation Open Space Advisory Board, Trustee Miller. And then for the 2024 appointments to external advisory boards and commissions, Consortium of Cities, Trustee Larson, Boulder County Transportation Sub-Regional Forum, Mayor Billy, Colorado Communities for Climate Action, Trustee Miller, Denver Regional Council of Governments, Mayor Pro Tem Sterling, Nederland EcoPass Public Improvement District, Trustee Corvalon, the Peak to Peak Housing and Human Services, Mayor Billy and Mayor Pro Tem Sterling, and the Youth Advisory Board, Mountain Coalition for Youth, Trustee Ty. Alex and Landon is the Hillard is the other person. And I'll do introduction emails and get you all the calendar invites.
Thank you. With that, I move to approve Resolution 2024-17, appointing the persons listed in Attachment A.
What I just listed.
which Miranda just read out loud. Can I have a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. When you're ready.
Trustee Larson,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Sterling,
Yes.
Trustee Corvalon, Trustee Ty,
Yes.
Trustee Miller,
Yes.
Mayor Billy.
Yes. Right. Well, the motion passes. Appreciate that, everyone. And with that, we will go to the resolution passes. The change of bank signers. So Miranda, you want to cover this or want me to?
Yeah, it's that time to change bank signers for a lot of different reasons, but primarily Trustee Coombs Ismail is no longer on the board, neither is Mayor Pro Tem Mahold. It's always good to have 4 signers on the account, and so currently it's Mayor Billy and myself. It is recommended that you currently keep me on just for ease since I'm in the office, but then of course in my departure, you'll need to do this again. But we are asking at least tonight that you appoint 2 more people to serve on the bank or as a signer in case Mayor Billy or myself are not available over the next 6 weeks. It's not a super hard process to change this, but we want to make sure we at least move the 2 off. Mayor Billy and I already signed the paperwork to remove Trustee Coombs Ismail and Mayor Pro Tem Mahold, but it's just ideal to get 2 more on.
And the time commitment is that every Wednesday or Thursday, Christie sends out a text to whoever's the signers are and says, hey, the checks will be ready X time, usually Thursday evening, afternoon, or Friday morning. And the idea is to have them signed either Thursday or by Friday fairly early because she mails them out by Friday at noon. So,
And typically there's 2 board members who are the primaries and then their 3rd board member who's a backup. And so that group text, in the past has been Mayor Billy and Mayor Pro Tem Mahold. I do think there's value in your Mayor Pro Tem being that. And so that's typically who gets texted. And then it's whoever can sign fastest between the 2.
yeah, just like not necessarily who writes faster, but like who can get there first.
Who can get there first? Yeah, who can get there
Who
first?
can type faster and probably write faster.
That 3rd person is really like, I think Trustee Coombs Ismail signed like maybe 1 or 2 times.
Yeah. Just really, because I mean, like I travel for work and you travel for work. Tom traveled for work, so Eric was sometimes.
I will say I'm very close and have an open schedule
Yeah,
compared to a lot of people.
That's awesome. Yeah, you do have flexibility, and that can actually be real helpful sometimes.
Yeah.
Would you want to be a signer?
Yeah.
Thanks, Ty.
I was going to offer the same as I work remotely from home all the time and can easily pop down to town hall. So happy to do it if needed.
Okay, so great. We got a bunch of folks
You
interested.
can have as many as you want.
Oh,
It's your
okay.
choice.
Okay, let's
do
because
it.
I mean Chris travels for work too. So I mean, let's.
Yeah. And I'm usually up here.
You know what? Throw us all.
This is awesome. It was such a pain in the butt to get him about a year and a half ago.
Well, what I would say is it used to be a painful process to try to coordinate all of you. The DocuSign, but I might caution is that you are about to change it in 6 weeks. And so maybe we just start with 2. And then when you bring on your town administrator, that's when you add on the rest of the trustees.
That's
So it's not that many people having to sign multiple times.
Yeah.
But it makes sense to have as many of us as possible just because it gives way more options.
Yeah. Yeah, because Christy, it works well for Christy to be able to start mailing all these checks out at noon on Friday.
Cool.
All the warrants are all checks. So
Yeah. I mean, it takes me, I mean, I try, because I read them, I look at the receipts. It takes me like half an hour. Yeah.
So if we all meet down there, it'll take us 2 minutes.
There you go.
Okay. You
Who's
get
bringing
it.
the whiskey?
Right.
I should say up to a half an hour.
Sorry, tequila.
A half hour every time. And yeah, sometimes it's a smaller pile than others. And it's not, is that weekly or every other week or?
every other week.
Okay, cool. Great. Thanks. So I guess we'll go with you, me, and we're going to add 1 or 2 now or none now. And then,
I think add at least 2 now.
okay.
And then if you want to add the rest of the board, do that when you do your town administrator.
So should we add, go ahead and add Ty and Nicole now, and then when we get our new town administrator, we'll add, Luke and Chris.
Yep.
Tanya, you're welcome to. Don't feel pressured, but thank you. Yeah.
We'll walk down together. Do it.
All right. Cool. So I guess, that is indeed an action item. So I'd like to open this up for public comment. Does anyone have any public comments on our bank signing choices? It's an action item, so I need to get public comment. No one's in the room. Seeing no hands up or hearing no one online, we'll go ahead and bring it back to me, and I'll say I move to approve Town Administrator Miranda Fisher, Mayor Billy Giblin, Mayor Pro Tem Nicole Sterling, and Trustee Aaron Ty as signers at the citywide bank account.
Second.
I got a couple seconds.
Nicole. All right. Trustee Larson,
Yes.
Trustee Corvalon, Mayor Pro Tem Sterling,
Yes.
Trustee Miller,
Yes.
Mayor Billy,
Yes.
Trustee Ty.
Yes.
Great, thanks everyone. And with that, we will move to our, I think, one and only discussion item of the evening, which is the trustee vacancy.
Yep. So, Mayor Pro Tem, former Mayor Pro Tem Tom Mahold resigned from the Board of Trustees last Friday. So under Colorado Revised Statute 314303, the board has the power to fill a vacancy through appointment or ordering a special election. The person who is appointed or elected will serve until April 2026. You have 60 days to decide how you want to fill this vacancy, and that 60-day mark is June 4th. Wanted to really just draw attention to Ordinance 840, which is the ordinance you all recently passed, the former board passed, that amended code regarding an automatic appointment process. That does not apply here because Mayor Pro Tem Mahold was not elected to mayor. He just happened to resign at the same time. And so you could choose to kind of honor that in this situation, in which case former trustee Jesse Sievers was the person within 15% of the total cast votes between the lowest number and his number. If you wanted to kind of utilize that as a framework, and I believe he's on right now, or you could choose to do a special election or appointment. If you opt to go the special election route, just a reminder that it does take us 60 days, minimum 60 days to pull together an election.
And then just a clarifying question on appointment, we could either appoint directly or go through the application.
Correct. Yeah. So we've historically done applications. We've opened them up for 21 days. You've met with candidates. Not a requirement, just something the town has done in the past. You can choose to handle this appointment however you choose, unless Attorney Madsen has something else to add.
I don't, well, I do. I don't, but the 60 days, you no longer have that 60-day time limit that you have to make a decision. It's gone out of state statute. They took it out. So you have time if you want. I think you probably don't want time, but
It's good to know, at least.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
We can't just appoint, I mean, somebody has to at least express their interest, right? We can't just be like, guess what? You're on the BOT.
Yeah, I mean, the appointment would be a decision, you know, whether it's immediate or whether we open up for applications at that point, it would be a decision, and yeah, it would be only, you know, challenged by choice here, you know, it would be someone who wants to.
Can I add one thing in for consideration? And this is a little bit unknown, but I want you to be aware. You have a referendum petition. It's still going through signature verification. You know, if the petition is determined sufficient, it comes back to you for consideration to either reverse the ordinance that passed the special reviews for Teens Inc. or send to election. So just know that they're, you know, potentially calling for an election could be in your future. To Attorney Madsen's point, to not have to rush. That is something that.
But August.
Potentially July or August, depending on a protest. If a protest ends up being filed by May 1st, that really plays with those times.
Isn't August really the earliest when we went back and forth
So I think
without a
probably, yeah.
yeah,
90
60
days.
days from, so it takes us minimum 60 days from the date you call for it. So 60 days, so you call for it on May 6th or whatever, that's
That'd be July.
correct. It also, the choices then before you are reversing the decision or sending to an election. So You also could, as a board, choose to reverse the decision. So and I realize that's not something to, by any means, to debate right now, but just wanted that to be in your mind that there is a possibility that you already have an election coming, should you choose to go that way.
Well, I mean, yeah, I thought I heard August. I mean, is it, or, maybe.
Right,
July.
60 days, a minimum of 60 days from the date you call it. So 60 days from May could be a July.
So that would be
That's very
July.
aggressive.
But
But
still,
it could potentially happen
it's
in
still 3
July.
months. Yeah.
Correct. But I think we had said August, knowing, there's a lot of components there. But I think when this comes back before you, your first meeting in May, Macy and I will have outlined, when's the earliest we could run that election once this whole petition process is finalized and signatures are verified and the protest period is done.
I'd start this off with, does anyone know anyone who has expressed interest? That would be somebody we would consider.
I've been told of 2 people
And,
that were not in the election who have interest.
and
Yep.
perhaps when we go to public comment, those folks might, if
Yes.
they've joined, they might speak up.
So, yeah, and we will get to public comment here soon, but any other clarifying questions on just the nuts and bolts of this? If not, we'll go to public comment. There is no one in the room. I don't think with any comments. So if we'll go to folks online. If you have any public comment on the filling of the trustee vacancy.
Tierney.
Tierney?
Hi, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Great. Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Tierney Maris. I'm a Nederland resident. I live off Peak to Peak, just up past the community center. And I just wanted to provide a quick public comment to say that I would be interested in applying for appointment should the board go in that direction. I'm sure I'm not the only one who might be interested in applying, so I think appointment would be a great and hopefully efficient way to fill this new vacancy. That's it. Thank you very much.
And as a reminder, Tierney came to that initial orientation training of the folks who were going to go for appointment back months ago when we ended up appointing Luke. And she decided not to at that point. She was in the process and just decided to hold off for now, but is interested now.
Yeah, and just to clarify, at that point, I hadn't been living in town for at least a year.
Oh,
I moved
that's
here
right.
back in March of 2023. So I wasn't eligible to move forward with the process at that time, but I am now and would love to move forward with the process.
That's right. I forgot. That was actually the reason.
No worries.
Thanks, Tierney. Any other
Thank
public
you.
comments from folks?
Melody.
Melody?
Hi, can
Yes, we can.
all right. Melody Baumhover, Nederland resident. I would like to see you guys support the kind of idea that we just had an election. There were people who put in time and effort to run to get those campaign signatures, and it would make sense to me to then appoint Sievers, who has experience, was on the board, and got the next number of votes, and go that route. So that's my opinion. Thanks.
Thanks, Melody. Other folks with public comment? Anyone out there with any more public comments regarding filling the vacancy for the BOT?
Hi everybody,
Okay.
this is Jesse. I'm
Hey, Jesse.
open to filling the vacancy. I think it's also interesting to see some new faces and some new possible candidates. And so I had a great time with it all, and I'd be open to filling it. I wouldn't want to see the seat go unfulfilled. So yeah, at the same time, I'm not overly attached to it. It was a good run, and I'd be perfectly okay leaving the leadership of the town in your all's hands. So just wanted to add that. for the public record.
Thanks, Jesse.
I'm out on a nice walk right now with my family.
Hey, Stevers, folks. Yeah. Sounds pretty good. Any other comments from folks out there regarding filling this vacancy? All right. Hearing none. If you're speaking, we can't hear you. So I'm going to bring it back to the board, but raise your hand if you've been talking and we couldn't hear you. Okay. All right. With that, I'll bring it back to the board for discussion.
Well, I mean, I would be fine with just appointing Jesse if sounds like he was interested. It's hard to say, that walk sounds pretty good. But because I know him, the devil, you know, I say that with love. So, I would lean towards that, but I'm also fine with appointing. Typically I would love an election, but I feel like we need to have a full board. We've had too little of that in the past 2 years.
Yeah, I agree. I go for appointing Jesse. I mean, it's going to be empty for too long, in my opinion, if we try to do an election.
Yeah. I mean, the other option is just to put it towards appointment and let other people apply and have our little process for that.
Have
Yeah,
the application.
That is
Right.
another option.
Yeah. So this is the situation I found myself in. Like there wasn't an election that had happened too far that had happened. Somebody resigned. The question was asked, well, why didn't you run in the election? Actually, Jesse asked me that question. And I said, I thought, oh, I'll just wait for the next time around. Maybe it's not. But then when the appointment opened up, it's like, oh, maybe this is the world giving me another signal that it's time, get off my hands kind of a thing. And I'm so glad I did. And it gave me the opportunity to serve in this way, which has been amazing. And so I love the idea of going back to that and seeing who else comes out of the, because I believe the words were left field where, and so I'd be interested to see that happen again. So I'd be more open towards an application.
I agree with Nicole because, just in the last few days, I've had at least one other person express an interest. And when I tried to get them to come to this meeting tonight, because it's out of sequence meeting and not on a usual board night, they were stuck in a work meeting tonight. So I know of at least a third person who's interested in this position who has some experience I think would be really valuable to this board.
About how long does that take us to go through the open application process?
It's however long you want, but we typically do 21 days. And so
Right, but then 21 days and then we have to.
then you would appoint like,
The meeting after that, we interview and appoint.
Okay.
and you can shorten that. Well, 21 days is actually May 3rd. So on your May 7th meeting, you could
perfect time.
appoint.
Yeah. So it's really our next meeting after.
Because we could release it tomorrow and get it out there.
I lean towards that, putting it out there and for 21 days, because I know Jesse, even you, the other day when we talked, you said you wouldn't mind a little breather. So this might be your breather. But it really just would be missing one meeting. And if I'm not mistaken, we don't have anything at that meeting that 3-3 that, I guess I'm not as
I have not moved things around.
stressed out about being stuck in a 3-3 tie on anything there. Yeah. So I don't necessarily think there's a big hurry when it could really just be not even 4 weeks. We'd be appointing someone. What I am looking at though is the that meeting lightened up. Is that what's going on that meeting itself? And there's room for it for sure.
So this is a discussion item. Either way, do we need to move this to an action item tonight?
Yes.
So do we wanna...
apparently not.
Oh.
It just provide direction to
Not a forum.
to open up the application process, right, you could provide not a for direction to town staff to open up the application process.
Okay.
You're not appointing anybody and you're not making a
Right, there's
decision
no
to go
decision.
to election.
Yeah.
You're just opening up the application process.
Yep.
And it could potentially start tomorrow. And then by May 3rd, the 21 days would end. And then May 7th, which is really our next meeting after this Tuesday, we would, if there are applicants, we would meet the applicants and interview them and pick one like we did with you. And like we did with you, Nicole. Yeah. So,
I would give a nod.
I'm nodding.
I'll nod.
Nodding.
I was just gonna throw out a proposal to let's just nominate Jesse, but
Shoot, now we're 3-3. Maybe.
Two and four.
I believe we have 4 nods though.
Yeah, we've
Chris,
four.
Chris gave a
Nodded.
nod.
I'm
We
nodding.
we got 4 nods. And I think it's, yeah, we'll see what happens. Quick draw. Do you need any more,
But even then it would be an action item. So
yeah,
we'd have to, yeah.
that get ugly.
No, we will get this out tomorrow.
Great. Thank you. And then,
And thanks for the folks who got on and expressed interest. Thanks
Yeah.
for doing that.
totally appreciate that. Tierney, and thanks Jesse and thanks Melody for your comment. That being said, we will move on to our executive session, right? Is that what's
So public comment on non-agenda items.
public comment on non-agenda items? I'd like to open it up. There's no one in the room. Chris is here from the Mountaineer, but I don't think he has a comment. But anyone with a public comment on non-agenda items? All right. Hearing none. Let's see. I move to go into executive session pursuant to CRS section 24-6-402-4B to receive legal advice regarding Colorado law on Open Records Act, open meetings law, ethics law, quasi-judicial hearings, and legal matters pertaining to serving as a member of the Board of Trustees, and an executive session pursuant to CRS section 24-64024FL to discuss personnel matters related to the town administrator position and for which the employee has consented to the executive session. Can I get a second?
Second.
Second from Nicole Sterling. And then when you're ready.
Mayor Billy?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Sterling?
Yes.
Trustee Corvalon? Trustee Larson?
Yes.
Trustee Miller?
yes.
Trustee Ty?
Yes.
Can I just say for the public, there will be no further public business conducted after this executive session. The regular meeting will be adjourned, so no reason to tune back in tonight. Great. And
Well, it's going to take me a little bit of time to get everything together. And then
they're not playing basketball.
Trustee Larson, we're going to move to the small conference room. So it's going to take us a little bit of time to get down there. So hold tight.
No worries. I'm not going anywhere.
No, I'm just saying like, session that little bit, whatever. I can't hear what's going on. Only the person close to it.
Okay.
I told you that the other day.
Yeah.
I said the one about the water, I couldn't hear.
That's right. Are we using the owl or are we just?
And Aaron was the farthest away from him.
Yeah, which
Guys, owl.
yeah. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, because that was kind of the first time we had that.
No. Well, it was all in the center.
Searching his house.
Oh, I can't hear you. You're talking to me.
Well,
you
I
talk
can hear
now?
you. I can hear you. Can you guys hear me?
Yep,
we got ya.
Beautiful.
Do you want PowerPoint or, I don't know how much training you guys want.
Sure.
You got a PowerPoint?
I do. 6 foot.
But I know you're starting on the calendar. What point you're kicking me on?
Oh, no, if
Did you look, it was
And
gone?
it looked like someone was dead like this.
Don't look at me.
Just standing there looking at me. Yeah, we don't have to go in a particular order.
not your guys'
Let her.